Tolu wasn't born with a silver spoon, maybe just a wrapper. He grew up in the bustling streets of Mushin, Lagos, where ambition was a survival skill, not a luxury. From selling recharge cards under the bridge to fixing people's laptops with borrowed tools, Tolu had hustled his way through life. Now, at 32, after being laid off twice, burned by one failed startup, and ghosted by employers who promised callbacks, he finally got that one email. Dear Mr. Alade, we're pleased to offer you the position of IT Infrastructure Coordinator at Alara Tech Inc. Alara Tech wasn't just any tech company, it was the big leagues. Office in Victoria Island. Company shuttle. Health insurance. And salary? Let's just say. Tolu nearly framed the offer letter. Tolu said to his wife Adaora, "Babe, CM. They chose me. All those years of coding in that hot corner of Yaba finally paid off." Adaora smiles, eyes sparkling. Adaora softly responded, "I told you your time would come. You just needed the right platform." Tolu hugged her like he was afraid she'd disappear. He didn't know it yet, but Adaora was the platform. Tolu later that night, "I'm gonna prove myself there, Ada. I'll climb the ladder fast, maybe become head of tech one day. Imagine me with my own office. Ahen. That's when I'll know I've arrived." Adaora, teasing, said, "And your boss? Any idea who they are?" Tolu chuckled, brushing it off. "Whoever he is, I just hope he's reasonable. I can't stand when people flex power anyhow. You know me, I can't imagine taking orders from a woman, and that just feels upside down." Adaora paused, a flicker in her eyes, but she didn't challenge him. She just nodded and turned away with a knowing smile. That night, as Tolu lay on their mattress, dreaming of his bright future, he never imagined the biggest twist waiting at the top of the ladder was right beside him, under his roof, in his bed, his wife. That evening, Tolu burst through the front door, his face glowing brighter than the Lagos sun in February. "Ada, you won't believe what happened today," he called out, dropping his laptop bag like it owed him money. Adaora emerged from the kitchen, wiping her hands on a towel. She was barefoot, elegant even in her faded wrapper and plain t-shirt. A quiet queen. "Let me guess," she said, smiling softly. "You broke the company server on your first day?" Tolu laughed. "You're not serious. Babe, they love me there already. I even fixed something their senior tech guys couldn't crack. Omo, they were looking at me like I just did jazz." Adaora walked over and kissed his cheek. "You are magic, Tolu." He sank into the couch, legs stretched, chest puffed out. "I told you this job is my big break. You know that feeling when you just know you're about to become somebody?" Adaora nodded. "Yes, I know the feeling." He kept talking, arms moving like a preacher giving testimony. He told her about the posh office with the glass walls, the lunch buffet, the colleague with the weird accent, and the upcoming team meeting he'd be leading. "And guess what?" he added. "The founder herself is apparently some high-level woman abroad. Doesn't come to the Lagos office much. Maybe she's old. Or just lazy." Adaora raised an eyebrow, amused. "Lazy? I mean, not lazy, but you know remote founders. They just collect money while the men on ground do the heavy lifting." She turned away quickly, pretending to check on the boiling rice. Her voice floated back, calm and sharp like a blade in silk. "So, you think men work harder than women?" Tolu shrugged. "Not all women, oh. You're different. You're my backbone. But in a company setting, a man has to lead. It's just how things are built." Adaora said nothing for a moment. Then, maybe the real builders don't always stand in front. Tolu didn't catch the weight of her words. He was too busy imagining himself in suits and corner offices. "Babe, I'm thinking of pitching a new tech framework to the CTO next week. Something lean, scalable, something they'll associate with me. This is how legends start. Edaora walked back over and sat beside him. She reached out and gently brushed something off his shoulder. A tiny, invisible burden. I believe in you, Tolu, she said. Eyes steady, voice deep. More than you know. He leaned in and kissed her. You're the best thing that's ever happened to me. She smiled again, but there was a weight behind it. The kind of smile that holds 1,000 untold stories. She never mentioned the late-night calls she took in hushed tones after he slept. Never spoke of the weekly wire transfers, the sealed contracts, the board meetings she chaired under a different name. She listened to his dreams, cheered them on, while quietly managing dreams 10 times bigger. As he lay his head in her lap, eyes fluttering shut, Edaora glanced at her muted phone on the side table. A single message flashed. Urgent. CEO input needed before tomorrow's investor call. She silenced it, then ran her fingers through her husband's hair, gently like a mother over a child. Let him rest. Let him dream. He didn't need to know, not yet. Tolu swaggered into the lunchroom like a man on a winning streak. Confidence had become his cologne, strong, unmissable, borderline choking. A few coworkers were scattered around the glossy table, quietly eating, scrolling, minding their business like Lagosians in traffic. He slapped his tray down and sat with a dramatic sigh. Another day of saving this company from itself. They don't even know how lucky they are to have me. Chucks chuckled politely. You day try Shah. Tolu dug into his jollof, barely chewing. You know what's still funny to me? Everyone keeps talking about this Madam A. Like she's some kind of tech oracle. But me, I haven't even seen her shadow. A lady in glasses F looked up briefly, then back at her food. Nah so, Chucks muttered. Tolu smirked. I mean, what kind of CEO hides like that? She never comes to the office, never shows face on Zoom, just be dropping emails and barking orders. Is it fear or pride? Silence. He leaned in like he was letting them in on a sacred joke. Imagine working for a woman. I swear, I pity her husband. That man must be living in bondage. Chucks blinked. F stopped chewing. Another guy by the water dispenser choked slightly, then pretended it was the cold water. Tolu laughed, completely unaware. No offense, ladies, but leadership is not by gender. Let's be honest, men have the head for power. Women just accessorize it. F raised her eyes slowly, locking with his for a beat. Some accessories are worth more than the whole outfit. Tolu blinked. Eh? She smiled, serene. Nothing. The silence that followed was heavy, thick. The kind that says, we know something you don't. One by one, his co-workers excused themselves. Not rudely. Not quickly. Just strategically. Tolu was left alone with his tray and a strange chill in the air. He couldn't shake the feeling that he'd missed something. Something important. He laughed again, this time softer. Nah joke I day joke oh. But the echo of his own voice sounded hollow. In the far corner of the office, someone tapped away on a laptop, a glint of amusement in their eyes. Somewhere, far beyond that lunchroom, a woman's voice was shaping the future of the company, and Tolu had just unknowingly stepped onto her radar. And the radar was very active. Edaora sat alone on the balcony, her fingers wrapped around a cup of steaming tea, ice tracing the city skyline. The wind brushed her cheeks gently, like her late mother's hand used to do when calming her as a child. Tolu had been at the company for 3 months now. And for 3 months, she had watched from the shadows, quiet, calculating, proud. But tonight, she knew. It was time. The board had seen his potential. She had too. But more importantly, he needed to see hers. He still spoke of leadership as a man's birthright. He still carried his upbringing like it was law. Not out of malice, no. But from years of culture, from fathers who spoke more with their hands than their hearts. Edaora wasn't angry. She loved him. Deeply. But love without truth? It was a facade. She picked up her phone and typed the invitation herself. Private dinner, executive suite. Subject, promotion interview. Signed, Madam A. She smiled to herself. Not out of mischief. Out of readiness. Meanwhile, at work, Tolu stared at his screen like it had grown a new language. Private dinner? Promotion interview, he read aloud, brows furrowed. Who even sends invites like this? No name, no HR signature. Just Madam A. His colleague AO leaned over the cubicle wall. Wait, you got invited to meet her? You mean she's real? Tolu raised a brow. AO nodded with an exaggerated whisper. Bro, she's the ghost of this company. Nobody sees her. We just know she runs things. And she doesn't call anyone for dinner. Ever. Tolu grinned, shaking his head. Well, maybe I impressed her. Maybe she's tired of hiding. Just don't mess it up, AO said, eyes wide. She's not like the managers. She's on another level entirely. One wrong move. I'll be fine, Tolu cut in with a shrug, brushing off the warning. Besides, a woman running things this quietly? Respectfully, if I ever meet her husband, I'll shake his hand for surviving. AO chuckled awkwardly. Yeah, sure. Later that night, at home, Tolu brought it up over dinner. You won't believe what happened today, he said, shoveling rice into his mouth. I got an invite. Promotion dinner. Private suite. With Madam A herself. Adora raised an eyebrow, sipping her water. That's impressive. You must be doing something right. I mean, I have been carrying the team, he said, half joking, half serious. They probably want to keep me before I get poached. But a private dinner? That's dramatic. What kind of boss does that? She smiled, just enough. Maybe one who wants to see if you're ready for real leadership. Tolu leaned back, pride blooming in his chest. If it goes well, we're buying that second car. Maybe even move to Lekki Phase 1. I can feel it. Adora nodded, lips pressed together. Just go with an open mind. Of course, he said confidently. I know how to handle a boardroom, babe. Besides, how tough can it be? She watched him walk away, her expression unreadable again. He still had no idea. Tolu adjusted his collar as he stepped into the executive suite. It was dimly lit, elegant, the kind of room that whispered power in velvet tones. He straightened his back, rehearsing the lines in his head. Thank you for this opportunity. I'm honored to meet you, Madam A. His heart thudded. He was nervous but excited. Hungry. Then the door clicked behind him. He turned and froze. There she was. Adora. Not in a wrapper. Not in her soft house clothes. Not with that gentle smile she always had waiting for him. No. This was Adora in a tailored navy power suit, heels that could command a boardroom, and eyes that had seen deals closed in silence. She looked up from the tablet in her hand. Calm. Composed. Deadly serious. Good evening, Mr. Tolu, she said, her voice cool and formal. Please have a seat. Tolu didn't move. His throat dried. Ada. She stood. Slowly. No. Tonight I'm Madam A. The silence roared between them like a storm. He blinked. Took a step back. Wait, you? You're the one. Adora nodded once. The one who built this company from the ground up. The one who's been signing your paychecks. The one you mocked in the lunchroom. He looked away, shame crawling up his neck like fire ants. I didn't know. I swear, I didn't know. I know, she said gently. And that's the problem. He looked up. Why didn't you tell me? Adora's eyes softened just for a moment. Because I respect you. I see how hard you work. I watched you grind through disappointment, rejections, failures. You never gave up. She paused. Her voice wavered barely. But you also made it impossible for me to be honest. You spoke like a man who could only love a woman beneath him. Not beside him. Not above. Tolu's eyes welled up. I never meant to make you feel that way. I know, she whispered. But you did. Silence again. Long, awkward. Sacred. Finally, she gestured toward the chair. Now sit. Let's talk. About your future. And about ours, if there's still one. He sat down slowly, shoulders heavy, but heart cracked open. For the first time, he really saw her. Tolu sat there, stunned. The silence after Adeora's revelation hung heavy, like the weight of every belief he'd ever held pressing against his ribs. He stared at his wife, his boss, the woman he'd promised to love, honor, and lead, never imagining she'd been the one quietly lighting his path all along. His world, once so neatly defined, spun in fragments around him. The stories he'd heard growing up, the warnings, never let a woman lead you, the laughs he'd shared with coworkers at the idea of a female CEO. And yet, here she was, elegant, unshaken, the very definition of a leader, and still, the woman who made him pepper soup when he failed a job interview. The one who rubbed his back at night while he plotted out his dreams on paper. The one who, even with an empire under her belt, never once used it to make him feel small. His ego cracked, splintered into humility, and in that breaking came a quiet understanding. "Adeora," he whispered. She didn't speak. Her eyes said everything. Hurt, hope, and a love that waited. He stood, then sank slowly to one knee. Not in shame. Not because she demanded it, but because his heart did. He took her hand, trembling slightly. "My queen, you were leading all along. I just didn't see it." A tear slipped down her cheek. "I never wanted to lead alone. I just needed you to be ready." He looked up at her, eyes glistening. "I am, if you'll still have me, not as your subordinate, as your partner, equal, beside you, always." She laughed softly, a sound full of love and years of holding this moment close. She leaned down, touching his face. "Welcome to the top, Tolu. I saved you a seat." They rose together. Weeks passed. Whispers around the office faded. Colleagues stopped staring, because they saw the shift. Not just in the titles, but in the love that radiated between them. Power didn't change them. It revealed who they were always meant to be. Tolu, once unsure and insecure, now stood confidently at her side. Her right hand. Strategic, wise, still deeply traditional, but now with a heart wide enough to embrace a new kind of strength. And Adeora? She shone brighter than ever. Not just because of what she'd built, but because she no longer had to hide the one she loved while she did it. Together, they expanded the company, broke records, mentored others. But more than anything, they rewrote the story people told about love and leadership. Because the world saw something different in them, something powerful and true. That real men aren't afraid of powerful women. They rise with them. They love them louder. And they build empires together. Thanks for watching. Let me know your thoughts. What would you do if your partner secretly built an empire behind the scenes? Drop your thoughts below. Like, share, and subscribe for more African tales with a twist. New uploads every week. Let's grow this family of storytellers together.
Hello, friends. It's your personal person, Cha. Thank you for watching and for being a part of this family. Please like and subscribe for more wisdom tales. See you in the next video.